HarperVia and HarperAudio present Relations, an anthology of African and diaspora voices by Nana Ekua Brew-Hammond, read by Tshego Khutsoane and Anthony Oseyemi. A note before we begin. Don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider or go directly to www.harpercollins.com/pages/relations. It contains a list of contributors. Introduction. Years ago, I was at a party in New York. I was single, and I presumed the man I stood on an invisible island with was unattached too. Separate from the clusters of aspiring photographers and models, and friends like me who had tagged along to this photographer's studio, the two of us huddled together, gripping cups of clever bravado, our heads tilted toward one another at an angle of intrigue and lust. He was witty and worldly, and as we spoke, we discovered we were both from other places. He had moved to the United States from Morocco, and I was the daughter of Ghanaian immigrants who had sent me to live and school in Ghana when I was 12 years old. "Oh, how cool," he said. "I've never been to Africa." I blinked at my cup, and then at him, sure I hadn't heard right. "But aren't you Moroccan?" "Yes," he said, the blank stare in his eyes not following my point. "But Morocco is in Africa." He appeared genuinely unconvinced. There was a whiteboard in the middle of the studio. I left our island to draw a map of Africa on it and traced out 2 jagged rectangles. "Morocco," I said, pointing to the rectangle in the top left corner. "Ghana," I said of the other one. "Africa," I concluded. After a slight pause, he nodded with the sincere acquiescence of a knowledge transfer, the spell of flirtation broken. We floated away from each other, absorbed by new conversations, our atoll permanently abandoned. Unsure how or why a man born and raised on the African continent truly seemed to believe he had never been to Africa, I wish I had probed him further. But I was still forming my own sense of who I was, and I had not come to the party to interrogate the vastness of African identity. I never forgot the exchange, though, and years later, when a Frenchman I was dating noted casually that I was from Black Africa, I felt the same befuddlement and irritation at the implication in his racialized delineation of the 48 countries known as Sub-Saharan Africa that cover the northern, southern, eastern, and western regions of the continent. I told him to never describe them in that way again, especially not in public. As far as I was and am concerned, the distinction between Black Africa, or Sub-Saharan Africa, and Africa's northernmost nations reflects the continuation of a centuries-old distancing of lighter-skinned peoples from darker-skinned peoples, largely due to the stigma projected onto the enslaved African. Chouki El-Hamel's Black Morocco, A History of Slavery, Race, and Islam, notes how the legacy of the enslavement of blacks has complicated contemporary racial relations and black identity in the country. I would add that it has complicated racial relations in every country where people of African descent live. In October 2021, while I was on a week-long stay in Cape Verde, the stunning necklace of 10 islands off the northwest coast of Africa, a man on the island of São Vicente explained to me that Cape Verdeans, whether rightly or wrongly, don't really consider themselves African. He pointed to the Portuguese heritage evident in the local complexion
Sample complete. Ready to continue?